Hi, Jason. My name is Ellen. I'm very happy to see that you've sent us essays. We'll be working together, so I'll be correcting these for you today. Let's take a look at what you wrote. The topic is schools being more entertaining. So let's see what you said here. Students are told to be focused in academic curricula to get a good grade because it is a prerequisite to enroll into a desired university in future. This has made some of the people think that the purpose of schooling is merely for education. Personally, I strongly disagree if the sole purpose of schooling is only to educate student academically. Okay, this is pretty good. It's a good start. You've gotten the right elements in this introduction, and so that's a good starting point. But there are some little grammatical things that I absolutely would like to fix. So why don't we do a little bit of that? Let's see. Students are told to be you're focused on something. So students are told, and it's not really the curricula, but it's the academics in general. So students are told to be focused on academics to get a good grade. And you didn't need a comma here because it is a not it is, but this is a prerequisite to enroll into, I guess is fine, a desired, with a D, university in future. This has made some people, not some of the people, this has made some people think that the purpose of schooling is merely for education. This is a little strange. Is only for education. And the reason I say that is because when you say just education like this generally, it could mean artistic education. It could mean sports education. So education in general could cover all of these things. What you're trying to differentiate in this essay is the idea of just focusing on academics. So I think I would have preferred that. Some mention of that. So let's try it a little differently. This has made some people think that the purpose of schooling is merely to help children get good grades, or is merely to teach academic subjects, something like this. I think you understand my point. Personally, I strongly disagree, and I didn't like this if here. I thought that was strange. I disagree that the sole purpose of schooling, personally, I strongly disagree that the sole purpose of schooling is to only educate. And you didn't need only since you already had sole. So let's try it one last time. Personally, I strongly disagree that the sole purpose of schooling is to educate students with an S academically. And then here you could have put the only. Only. All right, let's move on. After a long hour of class in school, students should participate in curriculum activities to freshen up their mind. Some research paper in Oxford University illustrated that students that participating in extracurricula, such as music class, after a long hour of school, will trigger their creativity, where this will help them to have a better focus during lesson. However, this will also relax their mind and helping them to cultivate the interest that they will never learn during the class. All right. There are a few things that I want to do to this paragraph, okay? Let's first talk about some of the grammar. You've got some basic grammar mistakes here that, while they don't make your meaning impossible to be understood, they don't really make it particularly accurate in terms of grammar, okay? So there's enough grammar where I can say, all right, well, yeah, this has some issues, but it's not so problematic that I don't understand your message. I do understand your message, okay? So now what I want to do is correct some of this. So let's do that now. After long hours of class in school, students should participate in extracurricular activities, or even better here, and we'll talk about it in a minute, would be entertaining activities to freshen their mind. I didn't like some research papers because it feels very kind of not specific. So you could have just said a research paper from Oxford University illustrated that students that participate in activities such as music class after long hours of school will trigger their creativity, where this will help them to have better focus. I would have gotten rid of the A, during their lessons with an S. However, this will also relax their mind and help, not helping, them to cultivate the interest that they would never learn during the class. Okay, so we've corrected some of the grammar. Now for me, what's going on is that this feels a little underdeveloped, okay? And if you even look at it, this whole paragraph is just a little longer than your introduction. So that's one sign that you probably should have and could have written more. It was just one idea and you needed to go a little further with it. So one thing, since you've been learning the template from the course, is that you needed to have a conclusive statement here at the end of the paragraph, really linking it back to that first sentence in the paragraph, okay? So something like, therefore, children who have entertaining activities are more relaxed and more focused. Something, just kind of bringing it all together. Let's look at the next paragraph. In addition, involving students in certain, I don't know why you keep saying curriculum, it's the wrong word, in certain activities will help them develop skills such as leadership. Well, you can't say develop skills such as leadership skills. That doesn't make sense. So let's try it a little differently. Careful with your spelling of activities. Will help them develop skills such as teamwork and leadership abilities. Why don't we do that? In order to run an organization systematically, forming a committee list such as chairman, vice chairman, secretary, treasurer, and so on is a must. Contribution of every role in the committee list is crucial in managing an organization. For instance, no S here. To organize an event, the committee must conduct a few meetings prior to, not the maturity, that's the wrong word, to the execution of the event, I suppose would be an okay word here. So this will need the teamwork from every individual in order to accomplish all the tasks smoothly. All right, Jason, this is really not on topic. Remember, we're talking about schools becoming more entertaining. Everything you've talked about here, while I'm sure it's very useful and it's for some children a fun part of school to be members of committees and so forth, you can't really say that this is entertaining. So let's think about what entertaining means, okay? It means fun, it means enjoyable, it means things that make us laugh, things that are funny, things that kind of lift us to a fun and happy mood. All right, but things that make us laugh, like comedies are entertaining, games are entertaining, play is entertaining. Okay, but I wouldn't say that what you've described in this paragraph is entertaining. So this is where the test is really kind of checking your vocabulary and your understanding of vocabulary. To be sure that you've understood this topic and are answering on this topic. This for me was not on topic, okay? Let's look at your conclusion. I don't know what as saying is. As the saying goes, or as it is said, I think you mean something like that. The young generation is the leaders of tomorrow, or is our future leaders. It's not one future leader. So students are encouraged to participate in more extracurricular activities so they can develop, too many so's by the way, they can develop skills that they will not learn in the school lesson. It is not rightful to think that attending school is solely for education, because this will only discourage them, not discourage them to skip school. This will only encourage them to skip school and cause them to develop some destructive mindset towards the school. All right, it's fine, but you don't want to introduce any new information in your conclusion. The body paragraphs are where you want to mention new information. So your conclusion should really just be a summary of the things you have already said. Okay. I already told you that I thought this was kind of off topic. This wasn't really what you were supposed to be talking about. Again, you're supposed to be talking about this idea of schools being more fun, more enjoyable, having more entertaining activities or subjects rather than just being educational. Okay? You were kind of on the right track here, kind of, but here I'm afraid it was not on topic. Okay? So that's really common, especially at this stage in your preparation. So that's, I'm glad that we're looking at this issue early on so that we know that you just have to pay really close attention to what the topic is. Make sure you underline and maybe highlight the keywords so that you're answering on those key features and not on something else. Let's take a look at your second essay now about doing an enjoyable activity with a child. As the phrase goes, okay, no by, learn by doing, not learning by doing. So it's as the phrase goes, learn by doing. Most people think that obtaining a skill through practice will be more effective than just mere reading. However, parents these days have a mindset of getting their children to read at an early age so that they can develop a skill faster. But is that true? This essay will demonstrate some examples to prove arguments. All right, now the problem here, I mean, it's nice. You've gotten some very nice things happening with the questions and the however and with the parents. So I liked all that, but you never answered the question. It's asking you, to what extent do you agree that doing an enjoyable activity can help a child? You didn't tell us. You just said, oh, well, we're going to discuss this. That might be a nice thing to do in certain cases, but not in IELTS. I really want you to answer whatever question they ask you here in the introduction. Okay? Let's move on. It is inevitable that every individual has to experience through schooling system in this century, but how to make this process to be interesting and fun? All right, let's correct the grammar. It is inevitable that every individual has to pass through the schooling system these days, but how can this process be made more interesting and fun? Despite memorizing the alphabet by repetitive reading, some teachers made it into song. So this has made the 26 letters easily learned by the children in a short time. Research from the education department in the UK, capital E, capital G, and no government, demonstrated that making a study into song proved to be more effective because tone and rhythm, careful with your spelling of the song, will leave a vivid impression on the human brain. Therefore, it will last longer in the memory of a human It will last longer in the memory of a human, which makes, I don't understand this, study, easily learned, no, information, material, easily learned and absorbed. Okay? What I don't understand here is how you're answering the question. Are you trying to tell us that singing is a better way of developing skills than than reading, and that people should use music to learn things rather than just read them? You didn't, you can see here that I could understand what you're trying to say, but I'm basically asking you, when I finish the paragraph, or when the examiner finishes the paragraph, it should be clear what you are suggesting and what you are saying. So there shouldn't be any guesswork happening. You need to work a little bit closer on using the template. It'll really help you guide your answer and structure it so that you're clear that you're answering what you're supposed to be answering. All right, that's one thing I want you to work on in your next set of essays. I don't know if this is exactly what they were trying to ask you to talk about in this essay, but before we get into that, let's look at your next paragraph and we'll talk about it further. Cultivating the hobby of playing sports in children on a daily basis helps, with an S, to develop better focus. Get rid of the A. An extensive study from Oxford University illustrated that children who play sports such as football and basketball will acquire, no D, certain skills such as spontaneous body reflex and dribbling, which enhance which enhance brain and nerve function. This has proved that children that engage in sport activities will become faster learners when attempting to learn new things. Therefore, what? What are you trying to tell us? What skill are they developing? Just learning faster? All right, let's look at your conclusion. In conclusion, this essay is not discouraging children to stop reading. No, this children is not encouraging children to stop reading, but suggesting to engage themselves in an interesting activity. No, but is suggesting that engaging themselves in an interesting activity may provide a better outcome than just mere reading. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. One thing is that you were supposed to talk about better skills and creativity. First of all, I didn't see anything about creativity anywhere. So right there, that's going to be a huge problem. You could see that they separated it from the skills, which means that they wanted you to spend some time talking about it, and you didn't mention it at all. So that's going to be a huge problem. It's going to lower your task achievement score. So you have to really, really pay attention to the way this is written. That's the first thing. The second thing. The second thing is, like I said here, I didn't really agree with this paragraph about music, because you weren't really talking to us about a skill, about developing skills. You were just saying that, you know what, if kids learn things by singing, they'll learn better, they'll learn faster. That's not really a skill. I mean, and if it was, and you need to say, you know, just learning faster as a skill, but you never really presented that to us. Here, I think you're talking about becoming more focused, but it needed a little work becoming more tightly formed. This is why I really want you to try working on the template a little more. In the beginning, it's important to be very faithful to the template, because it'll help you structure your answer. So this could have been done really a lot tighter if you had used the template more closely. So I'm going to really, really encourage you to do that. So for example, like, okay, well, I don't know what spontaneous body reflex is, and I don't understand why dribbling, okay, you said it's a brain and nervous function. Okay, but is that really a skill? Not really, you know, enhanced brain and nerve function. What's the skill being learned? So, okay, then here you said fast learner. I felt it needed a little more information and a little better organization, again, which is why I encourage you to work on the template a little more. And then here again, I felt like you were kind of talking about something you had not mentioned before. You all of a sudden brought this issue of reading in here. You really needed to carry the idea of reading throughout the essay. So when you were talking about how learning is, you know, so easy with song, you could have said this is in comparison to reading, where when a child reads the same material, it takes them like 5 times longer, or things like that. And again, here you could have compared to reading again. All right, so nice first attempt, Jason. There are some things that I absolutely want you to work on. So what you need to do, of course, is correct your essay, okay? Correct your essays, send them back to us. Return them with an error correction list where you write down the mistakes made and the corrected version next to them. That's for you to work on and just add to with every essay. And then, of course, you need to send us, with all of those things, your new set of essays, okay? Set 2. So go ahead, get that started, and we'll be waiting to see what you write next. Good luck.